I always thought I knew Jonathan. He was charming, attentive, the kind of man whose smile could light up a room. When we married, I felt like I had finally found safety, someone to trust completely. But I was wrong. It started subtly. A misplaced key, a shadow in the hallway that didn't belong to me. I blamed my imagination at first. Jonathan was always busy with work, traveling late nights. But then came the phone calls. Voicemails with breathing, whispers I couldn't decipher, and when I asked him, he laughed it off. "Probably just telemarketers," he said. I wanted to believe him. One rainy evening, I was alone in the apartment. Jonathan was supposed to be at a client dinner. I curled up on the couch with a book, but sleep came faster than expected. I awoke to a sound. Soft, deliberate footsteps outside our bedroom door. My heart raced. I called Jonathan's name. No answer. The doorknob rattled. I grabbed the lamp beside me, my hands shaking, and slowly approached the door. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then a whisper. "Why are you awake?" I froze. It was Jonathan's voice. But it wasn't. There was something off. He always sounded warm, familiar, human. This voice was cold, deliberate, unfamiliar. I backed away, trembling. My eyes caught movement in the hallway mirror. Reflection. A man standing there, but not Jonathan. This one wore his face, his smile, but his eyes were hollow, dark. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed a knife and my phone. I called the police, my voice shaking uncontrollably. But as I spoke, I heard it. Jonathan's laugh echoing from behind me, though I was alone. The next morning, Jonathan returned from his dinner. He kissed me like nothing had happened. "Why are you so pale?" he asked. I opened my mouth to tell him, to explain the footsteps, the whispers, the reflection, but I couldn't. How could I? Who had been in our apartment? I started noticing little things. My personal items rearranged, unfamiliar notes tucked into drawers, doors that were locked the night before left open. And every night that voice came back, closer, watching, whispering. Weeks later, I found a small photograph tucked under my pillow. A man smiling, holding a knife. On the back, a single line. "Soon you'll see. You'll know which one I am." That night, I slept on the couch, knife in hand, listening. And as the clock struck 3, the familiar soft steps returned to the bedroom. This time I didn't hide. I waited, the door creaked. And then, in the dark, 2 shadows stood there, one smiling, one not. I froze, my fingers tightening around the knife. 2 shadows in the doorway, both wearing Jonathan's face, but one was wrong, twisted in a way that made my stomach knot. Its eyes were black pits, its smile too wide, too cruel. The other, my husband, the real Jonathan, stepped forward slowly. "Honey, what are you doing up?" His voice was calm, normal, but his face was pale. There was fear in his eyes, not for himself, for me. Before I could speak, the other Jonathan, this imposter, stepped into the light. The air grew colder, heavier, like the room itself was closing in. It mimicked my husband perfectly, every gesture, every twitch of his lips. But its shadow stretched unnaturally, writhing against the walls. "You can't hide," it whispered, voice dripping venom. "She's mine now." The real Jonathan lunged at it, fists swinging, but the thing moved with impossible speed. It ducked, twisted, and suddenly I realized it wasn't just one imposter. The shadows around the room were multiplying, reflecting in mirrors, in windows, in every reflective surface. My own reflection stared back at me, and it smiled. "Run!" my husband shouted, grabbing my arm. We dashed through the apartment, slamming doors, trying to block the shadows that followed us. But every corner we turned, another Jonathan waited, each one closer than the last. We reached the front door, locked. Every lock we had sabotaged. Panic surged through me, but my husband didn't hesitate. He yanked open the fire escape window. "Go!" he screamed, pushing me out into the rain-soaked alley. I scrambled down the rusted metal ladder, slipping, heart pounding. Behind me a scream, inhuman, gurgling. "My husband," I froze. The imposter Jonathan appeared at the window, silhouetted in darkness, one arm reaching toward me, the other holding the real Jonathan by the throat. I didn't look back. I ran. The rain pounded my face. My lungs burned, but I didn't stop until the apartment was a dark silhouette behind me. I went to the police, to friends, to anyone. But when they arrived at our building, the apartment was empty. No signs of struggle, no Jonathan. No imposter. Just the faint smell of rain and something metallic like blood that seemed to linger in the air. Weeks later, I tried to rebuild my life. But I could still hear it at night. Footsteps outside my window, whispers just beyond comprehension. Sometimes in the mirror, I catch a glimpse of that wrong smile just for a second. And I know somewhere in some shadow he waits. Watching, patient. Because the man I married may not have been the only one, and one day the shadows will come for me. Weeks later, I woke to the sound of my own laughter, coming from the bedroom. I didn't recognize it. Trembling, I crept toward the doorway. There, in the mirror, stood Jonathan, or not him. His eyes were hollow, his grin impossibly wide. "You've been so careful," it whispered. "But I've learned how to wear your face now, too." I blinked, and for a heartbeat, I saw my own reflection, smiling back at me. And then the lights went out.